I'm Kathy Dodson.
And I'm Jocelyn Lindsay. Welcome to another episode of 5 Minute Indie Insights, publishing tips and tricks in mostly 5 minutes because we have people who went to AuthorNation 2024 so you can get the real scoop and not just what we're dishing.
That's right. And we have a special episode today. I'd like to introduce you to Gail and Pete, and they're actually going to introduce themselves, tell you a little bit about themselves and what they write, and talk about what they got out of Author Nation and if they're going to be going back next year. So, Gail, why don't you start?
All right, thanks, Kathy. I'm Gail Holnick, and I write mysteries. They are, I don't know what the opposite of dark mysteries is, but whatever that is, that's what they are. They're not cozies, but they are light mysteries. So there's no explicit violence, no explicit sex. There's not a lot of gore and pages of misery. It's a puzzle. And so each of them is to be a puzzle for people who enjoyed Nancy Drew and Hardy Boys when they were kids. So I have two series underway. One is called the Resorting series, and all of the mysteries are set at a resort. And the other one I call the Media Mysteries, and they all take place in some medium. So the first one is a TV, set at a TV station. There are six of them so far. Radio station, social media was one that I did. That was a lot of fun. Movie set, things like that. So all in some kind of communications medium is where the story takes place. And the protagonist is a woman, an amateur sleuth who solves the mystery. And I started out 10 years ago now, I guess, wanting to do a series with three women, each at a different stage of life. So Shalane is in her 20s, Nevada is in her 40s, and Lillian is in her 60s. And they all come together in this first book, but also in all of the other books as well. So that's what I do.
Right. Thank you. And tell us about Author Nation. What did you really love about it?
Oh, well, it was overwhelming. It was such a cliche, but drinking from a fire hose. And so it was, they had, I don't know, 8 or 9 sessions going in every time slot. And then there's an option afterwards to see them on video, if you things that you missed. So we had to make choices, and we did. And I would say, I mean, it was really hard to pick a highlight, but I would say for me, the highlight was a Kickstarter panel.
Hmm.
I didn't know much about Kickstarter, and I learned a lot about and where to go next for more information. So I'm right in the middle now of, actually, I've got the books here. I'm right in the middle now of starting a Kickstarter campaign, which will sort of go in probably February or so so I have done the paperbacks of these are Shalane's two stories, although they come in a different order in the series as a whole. And then they all have animals in the titles as well. So we've got the Lion's Share and Kangaroo Court, and it's the 10th anniversary of the Lion's Share. So I'm going to put the two together into one hardback deluxe edition, and that's going to be the Kickstarter that I'm going to do. So I learned at Author Nation all about how to do that and how to get started on it, and so many bits of information and guidance from people who've walked the road already. And so it was a very friendly, engaging, open kind of place to learn.
That's
Fabulous.
great. Yeah, and
Um,
I love that you're putting it into action already. And
yeah,
the big question, are you going back next year?
Yes, I have actually already registered, bought my ticket. I am definitely going
Fantastic.
back.
Well, thank
fabulous. That's great. Yeah, we hope to see you next year.
you.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it, Jocelyn.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Pete, you're on.
Who?
Well, hey guys.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Pete Robert Tucci. I write in a post-apocalyptic military fiction type genre. And this was my first ever conference I had ever gone to, and what a conference for being my first one,
Wow,
right?
aren't you
So
lucky?
I know, right? My good buddy Franklin Horton, who writes in the same genre, kind of drugged me by the ear and told me to get my butt over there. So I certainly appreciated that. But yeah, I've got two series out based on the same post-apocalyptic event. My first book is called 3 Days to Eden. And the funny thing about that book, it was never designed to go to publication. I wrote that as a gift for my 16-year-old daughter. You know, she's kind of the kid that has everything. So I wanted to give her a piece of me, something she could have forever. And she enjoyed it. I know she enjoyed it so much. She goes, please, please, other people want to read this. If you don't publish it, I'm going to have it published. So, of course, what baby girl wants, she gets. So we put it out to publication, right? And it really took off. So it was a great experience. You know, there were so many classes that it's hard to just isolate one class that was really great. But I will tell you, most of the learning, most of the networking happens after the classes,
Mm.
around the tables during the cocktail hour. That's where all the networking really happens, and that's where I learned so much because some of the things that you all might be doing in romance could apply to what I'm doing in post-apocalyptic as far as a business aspect. So that's what that was my big takeaway from that conference, and
Love
and it
that.
certainly was an amazing experience for me. And it was in Vegas. What I mean, what can you say?
Yay, Vegas. So
Yeah.
the big question, are you going back next year?
Yeah, and of course that's up to my wife. So we've got she'll have the final say on that. But I will tell you, since she was out doing Vegas stuff the whole time while I was, trying to make a living and learn something inside this conference, well, it sure did cost me a lot of money, but it was certainly worth it.
That's hilarious.
It's a business expense.
Yes.
Of course.
Well, that's fantastic. And one of the things I do love about Author Nation is that we all write different stuff,
Yeah,
but we can all learn from each other. I love the way you talked about that, Pete, because you really do. You come across all different kinds of people at different spots in their author career, some who haven't published, some who are amazingly successful. Everyone's writing different stuff, but you're really all figuring out how to do it bigger, better,
yeah,
more, that kind of thing.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. It was a good experience.
yeah. Well, thank you so much for being with us today. We look forward to seeing you next year, and we hope to see you around here between then and now, and catch
Yeah,
up and let us know how things are going.
You're very welcome.
absolutely. And we'll let you know as soon as this post goes up, we want you to put your links to your website, books, whatever you want in the show notes. In the
Yeah.
show notes.
Thank
Absolutely.
you for
Well,
the
I certainly
invitation.
appreciate you guys having me on. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, we're back with a whole new batch of writers to talk about Author Nation 2024. So here we have Danica, Laura, and Elaine. Kathy, why don't you take it away and get us started with the next batch?
Great. Well, we can't wait to hear from you all on what you're doing, what you're writing, what you got out of Author Nation, and if you're going back next year. So, Danica, why don't you start?
All right. Well, I'm Danica Bloom, and I write steamy contemporary romance leaning into rom-com. Um, I think the biggest thing, my biggest takeaway from Author Nation was how hungry I was for in-person interactions. I spent more time outside of the lessons than I did inside because I was just having such a great time meeting people. And yeah, and so I am definitely going back. I've got my ticket for 2025. And in fact, last night I met with five of the folks who I met for the first time at Author Nation, and we're all going and we're planning to be getting together a couple times a month for the rest of the year because partnerships are being developed. So that's me. I loved it.
That's
That's
fabulous. I
fantastic.
love hearing that. That's great.
Absolutely. All right, Laura.
Hi, I'm Laura, and I write fantasy under the pen name LL Nelson. Mostly portal fantasy, some of it with dragons, some of it with time travel. The one thing that I got from Author Nation, or the main thing, was I want to say, connecting, networking, and for me, being an introvert, shocker, um, um, having to get outside of that comfort zone of interacting and networking with other people, and then also with like social media, which for me has always been like a big giant question mark. um how to make that actually work so that I can be seen by the readers who read my stuff, because I know that the genres that I write in are big genres. There's a lot of hungry readers, and it's that's the biggest thing I got out of Author Nation, was how to find the readers who are hungry for your books.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm definitely planning on coming back to Author Nation next year. I already have my ticket. I'm excited.
Fabulous.
Fantastic. Great to hear it. All right, Elaine.
So I'm Elaine Canyon. I write closed door romantasy comedies. And my biggest takeaway from Author Nation this year was the emphasis on finding the path that is sustainable for you, and the focus being on connecting and making relationships with your readers as opposed to viewing them as a dollar sign. And so I loved that being able to look at my business through that lens as opposed through the lens of, well, how many books can I get out this year and how much money can I make? But being able to look at it on a relationship level, both my relationship with my work and then my relationship with my readers really shifted the way that I think about what I'm doing in my writing. And I absolutely loved it. And I do have my ticket for next year. I'm super excited. I'm excited to come back and I'm excited to do it again and to keep learning and growing and developing as an author and as a businesswoman.
Yeah.
And Elaine, you actually manage one of the regions, right?
Yes, so I work with Jocelyn Lindsay and with Amber Washer. AC Washer is her author name, and we manage the West region. And so we help make sure that everybody who lives in the Western United States, so basically Colorado and all the way over, including Alaska and Hawaii, and we help to make sure that they're able to take what they learn from AuthorNation and then apply it to their business, to their writing, so that every year that they come back, they're leveling up and they're moving up. And it's not this stagnant thing of, well, yeah, I go to a conference every year, but I still don't have a published book, or I go to a conference every year and I still am not a profitable author, or I go to a conference every year and I'm burning out.
Right.
And so we want to make sure that you're not doing those things, that you're going to a conference every year and you're loving your work.
Yeah.
That's really great. And actually, I have one quick follow-up question that I think our audience might be interested in. Laura, you said that you're not an extrovert. And so how does Author Nation make it so that you can meet with other people and network?
So being an introvert, like, it's kind of twofold. I won't say that all introverts are like shy, but for me, that is a struggle. I prefer to be alone, taking breaks, being around too much like people energy. I joke that part of the reason I don't drink alcohol is because I will get drunk off of human interaction. So being an introvert is kind of partially me keeping from getting a little too high or drunk off of human interaction. Um, but with AuthorNation, I've been able to like connect with people, and also there's a lot of respect for, okay, you can't always go to every single session.
Hmm.
um, Take a break, come back when you're feeling better. And, it's okay to not go to every single session. You can go and be talking to people. I love this year that they had like couches that you could just sit at and chill. And I'm just like, the introvert in me is like, okay, cool. I got my spot. I have my computer. And if someone comes up and talks to me, great, awesome. But if not, I could feel my social battery recharging.
That's great.
Fabulous.
Thank you
Yeah,
for sharing that.
Can
that's
I can I share a tip too for that?
Yeah.
I I was terrified, really. Like I knew I needed to get out. I was shocked how much I needed it once I got there. But I volunteered to be with the team so that I was forced out of my room. I had a place that I could go to. I had sessions that I had to show up at, and the volunteer team were exceptional. It was delightful to be a volunteer. So if it's something that you're wondering, like there was a place to go for lunch there where
Yeah.
you could talk to other volunteers, and it was quiet because it was just a suite, right? It wasn't the big whole thing. So if you're an introvert, I really highly recommend putting your hand up when they do the call for volunteers.
yeah, I think that
And to piggyback off of that, if you're not someone who wants to be a volunteer or you're not physically capable of being a volunteer, that's what the regions are for. We're here to build community so that you are building community all year long digitally through platforms like Discord, through the AuthorNation community. So that by the time you show up to AuthorNation, you already have connections and you already have people that you know and can see on recognize on site and
right.
be able to connect with and spend time with that way too.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank
Dan,
you for sharing that.
Danica, can I ask you a quick question, a follow-up? You said you're meeting monthly with the group you met at the conference, which I think is absolutely fabulous. Are you all writing the same genre?
Interesting. So there are three other romance authors, but four, sorry, my apologies, four other romance authors and two audiobook narrators.
Oh, fascinating. Because
So
one of the things we had talked about was the mingling of genres.
Right. Well, we are writing all in, no, all of us write steamy, but different degrees of steam and smut. some say. But the fun part is with the audiobook narrators, we are looking at building business partnerships, like things that we can do to support each other's careers.
Love
So
it.
Great.
yeah, it's super.
Love it.
All
Love it.
right.
New
Thank
business
you.
besties.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here today and sharing your thoughts with our audience. We really appreciate it.